My name is Alex Ibarra, and I'm the state representative for District 13, which is Central Washington. I happen to be the only Hispanic representative from Eastern Washington and a former migrant worker. Actually, my family is a migrant family, and there was 6 kids, and my parents were some of the greatest parents I would ever know. They had 6 kids. We were all migrant workers working in the fields of Eastern Washington. Each of us went to college, each of us finished, and we all have our master's or our bachelor's of science degrees. That's what kind of American dream that my family had lived. Now there's another person that I want you to meet today. He's a particular doctor. He's also a migrant, and he's living his American dream. But his American dream isn't finished yet. It's just starting. And we're hoping today is the start of that dream. As a state representative, I walk the halls in the Capitol building in Olympia. I hope that this person, the doctor that we'll be talking about in a second, will be doing the same things for many, many years because he's the right person for the job. And why do I know this? Well, Raul, during the COVID, there was a lot of folks of color, lots of Hispanics that were dying at a double the rate of Caucasian in the state of Washington. Raul put a team together, and the team was called the Partnership for Leadership and Food. And what that particular group did is we vaccinated 500,000 mostly Hispanic farm workers in the state of Washington. And due to the fact that Raul was in charge of this particular group, he is the one that kept the group together. He's the one that put the groups together, talked to the churches, talked to all the folks in Eastern Washington, talked to the bipartisan, not-for-profit companies. He talked to the federal government to get those particular vaccinations to the folks in Eastern Washington and all of those Hispanic farm workers that we worked with at that time. We also worked with the agricultural department in order to get foods to those folks where the panhandle were going south and there was no food for those things. Raul was the person that was in charge. He's the one that stayed calm. The reason he stayed calm, I don't know if you know anything about him, but he runs 2 hospitals as a director of the hospital, so you have to stay calm in those particular conditions, and Raul was the right guy for the job. And that particular job that we're talking about, we'll talk about in 1 second. He spent 25 years as an ER doctor. So doing that, you have to be the right guy, you have to be calm, you have to be a leader, a great leader. And that's what Raul is. I've known Raul for some years now. He's a great person. He's a great friend of mine. I love his family. He's got the most wonderful family of all time. Just love him to death, and I think he's got a great heart, and I think his heart's not just for folks like me, his friends, but the folks from the state of Washington. He loves all people, and he loves to support all people. And I think that he would be the great person to run this particular state. So it is my pleasure to introduce a man I respect and admire, a man standing ready to give a voice to all residents of Washington, the next governor of Washington State, Dr. Raul Garcia.
Good morning, King County. Good morning, Washington State. My name is Raul Garcia. You couldn't have a better day this morning here in Seattle, and my family and I are happy and honored to be here with you in efforts to bring hope and health back to our state. This is why I am asking for your support and to join me as I announce our campaign to be the next governor of the state of Washington.
Yeah!
By trade and training, I am not a politician. I'm a doctor. I'm an emergency room physician for the last 25 years in the front line, helping people in the most vulnerable time. Oftentimes of fear, oftentimes of uncertainty. Through a career in medicine, leadership in national boards and professional organizations, success as an entrepreneur, and in the front lines of COVID, I am here to bring health to the state of Washington, to bring present and effective leadership, and to form a government by the people, people of all walks of life, with one common goal: to restore the safety and the prosperity of the Washington state families. Fleeing communist Cuba as an 11-year-old skinny kid that didn't speak a word of English, I quickly learned that I appreciate and want to uphold the values and the freedom that the American dream represents. I am proud to be an immigrant. I am proud to be an immigrant not only to this state and country. I have lived in Havana, in Madrid, in Miami, in New York City. But how lucky am I that 16 years ago I found my home here in this pristine state, this wonderful state, the one that my family and I fell in love with forever. I am the living embodiment of the American dream, just like many of us here. My immigrant story is no different than those immigrants that come from Mexico, from South America, from Asia, from Eastern Europe, from Africa, from Western Europe. We need to bring present and effective leadership to the state of Washington. I came to America with not much more than the love and the support of my family and an overwhelming desire to thrive in the greatest country in the world. Through a lot of hard work, dedication, perseverance, and a little luck, I was able to achieve my dream of becoming a doctor, a profession that I could give back to this country. I worked for Senator Bob Dole, and then fell in love with one day really giving back to our country through public service. We have a fantastic state. It is unequaled and unmatched in its natural beauty, and it has always been a hub of thriving business and innovation. But I have to tell you, Washington, the last few years, we have lost our ways. Acceptance of others has been in my life, professionally and personally, a real thing. But I believe that we have come to a point that we accept now to the detriment of our own lives. It is not healthy for us, for our families, for our state, to accept crime that infringes upon our life. It is not healthy to accept people dying in the streets of mental health and drug addiction. It is not healthy to see women and children homeless in the city of Seattle. Those, unfortunately, will be the first victims of ready predators. We have lost our ways. It is not healthy to let our educational outcomes slide. And it is certainly not healthy to have our highways, especially the I-5 corridor, look like a developing country. A healthy Washington will have a swift and true accountability for those who break the law. A healthy Washington will focus on drug rehabilitation. A healthy Washington will invest in accredited mental health facilities and mental health workers. A healthy Washington will bring greater access to health care and healthcare professionals. A healthy Washington will bring parents and teachers and administrators together to restore K through 12 education and have an equal emphasis on college and technical apprentices programs. We need effective and present leadership in our state to prosper. Our Surgeon General came out not too long ago and said there is a pandemic after the pandemic. That pandemic is loneliness. People are disengaged. We need to restore our community spirit. We need to draw those people that feel lonely and make them feel included again. We need to encourage our people to be part of clubs, of city activities, to volunteer in schools and in non-for-profit organizations. I will be a governor that is engaged, that is present. I will work hard through various town halls to make sure that we reconnect as communities, that we form partnerships, that we form coalitions, and that truly we form a government by the people and for the health and prosperity of the families of Washington. Let us restore our compassion and respect for our everyday workers. From the farmers to the construction workers that work outside at the mercy of the weather, to the teachers that too often have a day that is intellectually challenging and emotionally draining. To our first responders that work countless hours without a break. To our police that is there and we are entitled that they're gonna take care of us. To the bus driver, to the carpenter, to the electrician. Everyone is a part of being an industrial all-star that contributes to our community. Let us restore that friendly community feeling with our neighbors. We will create an efficient and effective government that makes safety its priority. To eliminate crime that infringe upon our families' lives and upon small businesses needs to be a priority. We need to have a compassionate leadership that does not let individuals die of mental health and drug addiction in the streets, but will create a triple play solution that takes care of mental health, drug addiction, and housing. And we could finally get rid of the word homeless that is so hardly entrenched in our society today in our state. Exceptional education curriculum and measured outcomes need to be restored so our parents stop taking our kids out of public schools. Our roads and bridges need to be fixed. And especially here in the Puget Sound, we need to restore our reliance on the ferry system. Our international district in Seattle has always been so rich in tradition and tourism. And unfortunately, small business owners in our international district have suffered the consequences of flawed acceptance for crime, vandalism, and loitering. Our international district in Seattle was just named to a list of 11 most endangered historic places by the National Trust Historic Preservation. Washington, we have lost our ways. And we need to restore it. We need safety and business opportunities not only in our international district, but in every community in our state. And we need to fight at the local level. So the name Washington never means something else than pioneering, innovative, hardworking, and safe. And then we will restore the pride for people to say such things as Emerald City and the Evergreen State. There's many of us in this state that feel that unity is far-fetched. We are very divided. Well, when I came to this country, I found an idol. His name was Ronald Reagan. He was a Democrat turned Republican that said, there is no left or right. There is only up and down. And right now, Washington, we are down. And we are going to include everybody to bring us ideas. It doesn't matter who you are. We want people from all walks of life for a better solution. I will be eager to look for those ideas. You will notice that every single opponent that I have in this election will only represent a subsection of their own ideology. For a government to be successful in this state and to restore it, we need a candidate and a campaign that is willing to represent everyone. No matter your race, or your ethnicity, or your religion, or your sexual preference, or your politics. Our campaign will include everyone. It is my fundamental belief that with more people at the table with different ideologies, we come out with better solutions. Y para todos mis hermanos y hermanas latinoamericanos, tenemos una linda oportunidad de hacer un gobierno que de verdad entiende nuestros ideales y nuestros valores. Yo crecí en la misma cultura que todos ustedes y necesito de cada uno de ustedes que se junten a esta campaña y hacer la campaña más grande latinoamericana que ha existido. E nós não podemos falar dos países latino-americanos sem falar do país latino-americano mais grande do mundo, Brasil. Para todos meus irmãos e irmãs brasileiros e portugueses, todos os imigrantes no estado de Washington, temos uma oportunidade de criar um governo que compreenda nossos valores, nossos ideales, mas preciso de vocês. Juntos podemos formar esse governo. And to all the other immigrants whose language I have yet to learn, isn't it wonderful that we all come to this melting pot and enjoy this great country that has great opportunity? Our beauty is that we come from all walks of life. I understand what being an immigrant is, and I will assure you that this government that we're trying to form today will always respect, defend, and open opportunities for immigrants in this state. And I am not only talking about international immigrants, I am also talking about businesses that will emigrate to Washington because of the opportunities that we are going to have for small business creation. We offer this government as an alternate to the career politician that is entrenched in special interests and often only cares about themselves and the special interests. I will tell you this government is interested in the families of Washington, in their welfare, in their jobs, in their education, and in their pursuit to grab a piece of the American dream that I so strongly want to support and protect. Let us seize the moment, and together we could lead this new government in a state that is rich in human and natural resources past our problems of today. We will continue to learn and listen in 2023 as we go around the state. We will listen to and fight for the small business owner, the farmer, the teacher, the veteran, and everyone that wants that little piece of the American dream. And in 2024, we will bring proposals, solutions to our problems, and a government that together will lead us as the very best state in the United States of America. I thank you all for being here. My name is Raul Garcia, and I am running to be the next governor of the state of Washington. Thank you. Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, Matthew Patrick Thomas.
Good morning, everybody. Matthew Patrick Thomas, Chairman of the King County Republican Party. And now technically I got to be neutral on this thing, but I've known Raul for years, and he's been an ER doctor. And an ER doctor, a patient comes in at the ER, and that doctor has to look at that patient, diagnose, and how to fix him. And the ills of Washington State are many. We have drugs, homelessness. We have companies leaving our urban cores because their windows are getting smashed out. Retail thefts daily. And this goes back to Democrat policies that are hurting all Washingtonians. We have fentanyl killing Washingtonians statewide and nationwide. And I think we need some Republican policies to change that. We also need to get back to being a party of common sense. Let our law enforcement do their jobs. Let's not hamstring our law enforcement with police pursuit laws that are leading to more crime. So I'll be short and sweet, but to ask all Washingtonians to look at this. I'm born and raised in this town, and look at Washington State over the last 20 years, 10 years, and 5 years. And do you notice a change? And I think you will. I didn't see these tents and homelessness and graffiti and crime like this years ago like this. And it's exceedingly getting faster and faster. And I think all Washingtons need some change. And I think that change is to come in 2024 with the Republican governor. So thank you for your time.
Well, we will be taking this announcement to Eastern Washington. We will be live at 4 p.m. in Toppenish, my hospital, to talk to the folks in Eastern Washington. So until then, thank you very much for everybody coming here today.
Doctor, you going to take some questions?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think the big one a lot of people are going to ask is, what is it that qualifies you to be the governor of Washington State?
Well, I think that the simple answer is that I'm not a politician, and I have been a member of a profession that for 25 years, I'm forced to be 100% right or people die. I think that we need to have an outsider perspective of leadership, not so much of politics, but someone that wants to resolve issues. That is what we are going to run on. Solutions to issues, not so much politics. Let's get the right people in place to have the solutions met and have our state be better.
So, Doctor, it's no secret this side of the Cascades is often deep blue when it comes to politics, and folks like the man who walked by earlier would never vote for a candidate that has an R after their name. How do you plan to overcome that hurdle?
I plan to be in front of them. I plan to talk to them. I would love to talk to that man. Because, as Ronald Reagan said, just because we only agree 80% of the time does not mean that you're 20% my enemy. And if what we have been doing doesn't work, and it is obvious that it doesn't work, then we need new, fresh approach. And I think that coming from the outside, from a profession of leadership, it'll work. And I think that people will get behind that. Solutions instead of politics.
So the one other thing I definitely wanted to ask you about, I mean, you had mentioned the people that are living along the I-5 corridor and everywhere else in sight. Can you give us some details of your plan, how you would do it differently than what's being done now to try to help get these people off the streets?
So as I mentioned, I really believe that the answer is a triple play inclusive of mental health, drug addiction, and housing. And all three are important, but all three need to be in there. You cannot give a house to a schizophrenic because he's going to leave. You cannot give a house to someone that's still drug addicted because not only is that now going to become a drug house, but he's going to hurt everybody around him. We need to get these people, and the ultimate goal is to get our Washingtonians to have fruitful lives and contribute to society, to be back with their families, to be back with us. I'm a physician that understands mental health and certainly understands drug addiction. The brain of drug addicted individuals tells them that they need to get that drug. We need to remove them from that environment. We need to rehabilitate them and give them a purpose to be back with their families, to be back in our communities. And I think that that way we will resolve that issue.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Raúl David Cortina, periódico La Voz. Quiero preguntarle, usted siendo inmigrante, tenemos miles de inmigrantes que quieren pasar la frontera en estos días. ¿Qué programa o qué ideas tiene usted de una solución para poder ayudar a esos inmigrantes legalmente a llegar al estado de Washington?
Yo vine al estado de Washington legalmente, así que siempre voy a hablar de esa legalización. No, yo creo que todo país que sea soberano tiene que tener el derecho de saber quién entra en sus fronteras. Pero también quiero decir que las personas que han vivido aquí 20 años, que han pagado taxes, que han vivido una vida de ciudadano, que han tenido hijos que estudian aquí, quiero ver si trabajamos con el gobierno federal para que esas personas no vivan con miedo de que un día los van a deportar, porque de verdad que nos han demostrado que son buenos ciudadanos de los Estados Unidos, y darle un paso a la legalización.
Doctor, tenemos muchos inmigrantes que están aquí viviendo desde que son niños y no han podido más de 10 años llegar a ser ciudadanos, y muchos han llegado con sus padres desde que son niños y todavía no han podido tener de ser ciudadanos del estado de Washington del gobierno. ¿Qué piensa usted y cómo puede usted trabajar con el federal para que esto pueda llevar a cabo, que estos niños pueden llegar a ser ciudadanos?
And the question was about children that have come here since they were little and are still not legal in this country, but have lived a full life here, have gone to school, their parents have paid taxes. I would love to work with the federal government to make sure that those people don't live in fear, that we give them a path to legalization. Those people have proven that they are good citizens. Like I said, pay taxes, work, go to school. I understand that a long time ago they made a mistake. And God knows I've made mistakes. The reason I am here is because I have learned from my mistakes in my past. And I do believe that if you don't fail as a human being, you cannot improve. So I want to support those immigrants and those immigrant families to not be fearful that after 20 years of being here, someone's going to knock on their door and send them back to maybe a country that they will not agree with the government, that they will be imprisoned, that they will be killed. We cannot afford that. But I do believe that every sovereign nation must defend their borders and should have a choice of who comes into their country. Yes.
Dr. Garcia.
Yes.
So my name is Keisha, and I'm the district chair of the 37th district in Seattle.
Yes.
So it's really important because everything I'm hearing here I really like. And I like the fact that you're an immigrant from Cuba. And I really would like to get behind that. So my question is, how are you going to address Seattle? This is a different beast. It's a different breed. And one of the topics that's really hitting hard here is abortion. And I just kind of want to know what your stance is on that, and how you're going to appeal to Seattle.
Okay. So the question was abortion. We talked about unifying the state, and of course that's as divisive as it gets. And so let's answer that, and let's take it very serious. It's a very visceral issue for a lot of people. So if we take abortion as a scientific thing, taking religion out, taking the visceral feelings out, scientifically, life starts at conception. I believe that. There is no argument to that. There's a cell or zygote or a baby. And because of that, I myself have never performed an abortion, and I never will, nor ask my wife for one. But as a physician, I will never want abortion to be illegal in the state of Washington, because it will increase the morbidity and mortality of women, and I cannot get behind that. So what we have to do as a government, because abortion is legal in the state of Washington, is give options for that choice and support those women making that choice by strengthening our foster care system, by making it easy to adopt a baby in Washington, easier than it is in China, and to really support every pregnant woman in crisis because they are fearful. Let's support women. And you will see that the choice of abortion will be rarer and rarer, and that's what I would like to see. I don't believe personally that there are many people that are pro-abortion, but there are plenty of people that want the choice. And I understand that. Any freedom-seeking person like myself would want to be respected as an adult to make a choice. Our job as a government is to educate and give people options so they have everything to choose, not only abortion. And I think that abortion will be rare if we do that.
Thank you so much. On your campaign trail, do you plan on doing a town hall here in Seattle?
I plan to do many
Thank you.
town halls in Seattle.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Doctor, I have just one other question for you.
Yes.
As a physician, when the next pandemic comes, if the public health experts say we're in another situation where we need to socially distance and shut things down, are you prepared to sign that order?
Many of you understand and know that I differed in a lot of policy with Governor Inslee during the pandemic. But at the end of the day, we are going to do everything possible for our citizens to remain safe and healthy. And I am not afraid to tell the truth. As a matter of fact, John Carlson would say that in his show, when I was there every week during the pandemic, I am the only person that never had to take something I said back, because I told what the truth was. And if it pissed off one party or the other, that was the truth. And we are going to make sure that our state keeps safe. And we are going to make sure that we are ready for the next pandemic, because we were not ready for this one. Yes?
What's your stance on capital gains taxes?
Well, I believe it's a slippery slope. I think capital gains is an income tax. And I don't know how the Supreme Court found it apolitically to say that it wasn't. I think it's a slippery slope to start taxing the people of Washington. Our government should not create obstacles for our lives to be harder. Our government should create open doors so we have more opportunity and succeed as a family and as small businesses, which are the root of this state. I'm ready. More questions? Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.